G'day Blues fans and welcome to House Brothers Oval for another edition of Blue Tubes In and Under. Here today we're with Jeremy Johncock, one of our revelations this year up in our forward line for the Sturt Football Club. Jeremy, I was going to ask you about your background and how you came to the Sturt Footy Club. I believe it was a long trek. Could you perhaps just take us through all the clubs and how you ended up being out at Sturt in the last couple of years?
Yep, well it's definitely been a long journey I guess. I mean, moved over from Port Lincoln. Started playing football with the Port Adelaide Magpies in the junior system there. Played a few reserves games, probably early 2002, and then just wasn't enjoying football the following year because it just wasn't given any opportunity. So left there and went and played some country football out in Gawler in the Barossa Light League, and managed to have a decent year out there. And from there got invited out to North Adelaide training, so done a pre-season there with the league team, and first game of the year broke my ankle. So from there on, I just thought, football, it's no good, mate. So I thought I was going to throw it away there for a while. But then eventually got a knock on the door from Scott Hodges, who was coaching Henley Beach the following year. So I said, well, I don't really want to play, but I'll come out and do the pre-season and see what happens after that. And from there on, I played 2 years of football there. Played some good football there, and then eventually, I think it was, I'm not sure if it was Mass or Michael Borden, who might have been one of the assistant coaches here at the time, invited me out to play the last 2 games of the 2006, I reckon it was, out to the Double Blues. So yeah, it's been a long journey, but come to a good club, so hopefully we'll be around for a while.
Mate, that's a beautiful lead into the next question I was going to ask you. Last year in particular, you played some reserves footy and obviously some league footy as well under Rick McGowan, but probably fair to say you were in and out of the side a little bit last year. This year, permanent fixture. I mean, we've really noticed when you haven't been up forward, we seem to sort of lack that cohesion and that strength up forward that you possess. Perhaps take us through what your role is now under Luke and how you found playing footy under Luke this year.
I played under Normo. It's awesome. I mean, being coached by him for the majority of last season, I guess we just got a good relationship, player-coach relationship, and it sort of come across to this year as well. So, I mean, I was actually in the same boat as I was before. I reckon before I left North Adelaide, I was going to give it away again, but Mass and Normo had a chat to me and kept me at the club. So, said I was a required player. So I'm here now and definitely enjoying it. I guess with my role in the forward line is basically take all the ruck work up forward, give the ruckman a bit of a rest. So I don't mind that as well because I can try and lose my man in the traffic and get away with the ball. So I might be able to get some quick kicks or even get a couple of shots at goal if I'm lucky.
Now, mate, I remember too one of your good friends, Joshy Cubelo, mate. Was it last year playing for North, or the year before it might have been when you were playing one of your first league games for Sturt and cleaned you up? I think he broke your jaw, didn't he? So was there any payback, mate, when he came to the club? Did you sort him out at training or anything like that at all?
No paybacks or anything like that. I mean, I guess that's football. I broke my wrist in the end, so probably could have broke my jaw, could have broke every bone in my body after watching the replay, but don't really remember too much about it, but it was probably one of the best hits I've ever seen.
Yeah, mate, talking about hits, actually, there's a story I heard too. We embarked this year on a bit of a judo program, I'm told, in the pre-season. Normo got that organised, and a few of the boys didn't really think this judo thing was much cop, but apparently you were the first guinea pig they tried on, and he looked after you, apparently, threw you on the ground and this sort of thing, and that got the boys a bit serious after that. Is that true, mate?
Oh yeah, definitely true. Young Brownie, he loves his judo, and I think the boys are growing to love it as well. I mean, I guess it shows on the field now, they're tackling and so on, so that's definitely one area where we've improved this year, so it's good. And
mate, looking forward to, well, we've just been talking to Normo and talked about they have a great last sort of block of 5 weeks, 5 in a row. Obviously the bye now, and we come into a few pretty difficult games against the Bays and Centrals and Westies and Port. Looking forward to those, and the ground's drying up and getting onto the bigger grounds come finals time.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to playing against the Bays and Centrals again. I mean, obviously they're the measuring stick this year, so hopefully we can get one up on those teams this year, and take a bit of confidence out of those games. I mean, we know we can beat Port Adelaide and West Adelaide and Centrals for that matter, but yeah, Glenelg definitely our bogey side, so hopefully we can get one up on them going into the finals.
And Jezza, as far as work's concerned, I believe you work for the government, looking after the Indigenous lads and that sort of thing. Can you perhaps give us an idea about your role that you do? And perhaps, mate, you can talk to us about getting some Indigenous lads out to the Double Blues in the next couple of years, like Charlie or maybe an Aaron Davey or someone like that. Would be nice, mate.
Oh, of course, it would be nice. Someone to kick the ball to me then. No, definitely. I work for the Office for Recreation and Sport, which is a state government office, obviously. Work in the Indigenous Sport program there as a development officer. So basically the role of that is just to increase participation in sport for Indigenous people. So I mean, that could be as a player or it could be as a coach or officiating. So you know, I guess there's all these different areas behind sport, so you don't always have to play. So that's basically the role, I guess.
And I guess that's the thing. I mean, there are a lot of young Indigenous lads that are playing football, I guess, in many different parts of the country. And I think it's starting to, you see now, a lot of the clubs are going up into the APY lands and so forth to try and search for talent. Do you come across any of those sorts of young fellas in your travels?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, part of my role is to go out in the community and, you know, do some games or do some actual sports like soccer and all these different sports. So, I mean, you definitely come across a couple of freaks that, you know, just don't get given the opportunities, I guess. And, you know, with money and so on, there's always a big barrier. But, you know, you're lucky enough to see a couple go through every now and then.
And just take Dwayne Massey's business card with you whenever you go out there?
Oh yeah, try to.
Now, we just want to thank Jeremy for coming on tonight and giving us our time for Blue Tube In and Under. Good luck for the rest of the year, mate. Hope you have a blinder, and let's hope the Blues can go all the way. Thanks, Jeremy.
Cheers, mate.